Hi, and welcome to HMP's podcast, Fear of Snowflakes. I am here with my partner, Beth, and we are starting episode number 7, which is super exciting. I love that
Yeah,
we've done so many so far. And today we're going to talk about the end all be all of knowledge, the internet. And we're going to talk a little bit about AI and what that looks like in schools, especially, Beth, because you and I have been talking a little bit about it, and it's definitely changing out education in general. But even more importantly, what does that look like and how it transfers into a work environment afterwards is kind of what I'm dying to hear about. So, welcome to our podcast. And Beth, go ahead and take it on. I mean, you just started back into school like a couple of
yeah.
weeks ago, so this is like really fresh for you.
Yeah, I started school this is my 3rd week,
Oh
and
wow. Okay, it
seeing
is just
yeah,
released quickly.
so seeing the change even from last year in, the teachers' takes on AI is really crazy. They're changing all their policies, how they view it, how they allow us to use it. We're
Yeah.
allowed to use them on at least in my classes, we're allowed to use them on tests, we're allowed to use them on homeworks, and they're actually encouraging it. And
What?
yeah, it's crazy because last year, they were like, "Oh, if you use it, you're gonna get in trouble for cheating," all of that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I
And
was
then this
thinking.
year, they're coming at it from a completely different angle and are encouraging us to really get good at using it and learning how it actually works so we can efficiently use it and make sure that we're using it, like, in the best way, like, ethically and for the right things.
So I'm my mind is actually a little blown because to me it's like here, have a resource to cheat with. Like that's how I think of it when you tell me you can use it for tests. But
Yeah, so
what are
the
you
way that
learning? What are you learning if the computer is giving you the answers? I'm lost.
So what they're really trying to emphasize is that our tests, instead of just being like a recall test where they give you like vocab words, you need to memorize the definition, they're giving us more of like applied questions. So we're allowed to use AI to give us like the definition and stuff like that, like surface level stuff. But the questions are going to be harder and they're going to be stuff that you need to really think about and apply it to whatever scenario they're giving you. Like, I'm a psych major, so a lot of it is, like, social problems or whatever, and you can use AI to help explain a certain concept to you, but it's not gonna be able to actually solve the problem without your critical thinking skills.
Okay, okay, okay. That makes a little more sense. So it's not like you just are going out there and Googling something
No.
and putting it into paper where you're not going to learn squat.
Yeah.
Um, but it's more giving you the opportunity to put your words into a different format. Okay, cool.
Right.
Okay, that's not as odd, I guess.
Yeah.
But so do you still think it's ethical though? Like I know you just mentioned they're wanting you guys to be very ethical in your usage of it. But do you think using a computer to find the answers is really an ethical way to do schoolwork?
So, in my opinion, and what some of my teachers were saying too, like when we were growing up, they were telling us, "Oh, you have to learn mental math because you're not always going to have a calculator with you." But now we have
Exactly.
our phones. So,
I know, which we use for
that's
everything.
I
My
think what they're
spelling sucks now for the same reason.
yes. So now I think that's what they're trying to get us to learn is to learn how to use it so that in the future, because it's going to become such a big part of our lives and every aspect of our lives, you need to get good at using it. So, I
Okay.
think it is ethical because it's going to become a tool that we're gonna need to really know how to use and know how it works.
That makes more sense, especially when you use your phone, like as an example. I mean, because yeah, I don't think I could do regular math anymore. Like I
Yeah.
use my phone and my calculator for just about anything. So, but I don't feel like I'm cheating doing that. I feel like I'm using a
You're
resource. So
using a
I guess
tool.
if you,
Yeah.
yeah, if you look at it that way, it's a little bit different. I never thought of it that way. So do you think that it is going to be the end all be all of like as you continue in your education, because you're in your second year now, do you think by the time you are getting ready to graduate, it will be something that you're so familiar and comfortable with that you're going to have an expectation of using that in a work environment? Or is it no different than your phone? And if you use it, you use it. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're really emphasizing it that much, then they're predicting that it is going to be something that we're really gonna be using in no matter what workforce you go into, honestly. Like, I'm sure even doctors have to use it sometimes to recall something, you know? Not that they don't know what they're doing, but we all have those moments where we forget. something. So
Absolutely.
I think they're just preparing us to see it a lot once we enter the workforce.
Got it. Okay. So, do you have a particular tool that you use in at school? Is it ChatGPT? Is it a different tool or
Yeah, I just use ChatGPT mostly.
and you guys can choose whatever platform you want for your AI, is
Yeah,
that correct?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you find all of your classes are utilizing AI as a resource, or is it just certain classes?
Yeah, pretty much all of mine are. Both of my psych classes are, and then yeah, one of my online classes does too. So yeah, they're they're all using it for sure. It's very
So
interesting.
it is. It's wild. But do you feel that you know how to use the tool really well because of how they're teaching you to use it, or is it just from playing with it on your own and that kind of stuff that you feel like you're gaining more knowledge for the tool?
I think what they're teaching us is more kind of just like to make sure you know that it can make mistakes and where things that it's pulling from, like the internet, not everything on the internet is true.
What? I've
So
never heard that before.
So, they're also teaching us to, be careful for false sources it makes up, false data it gets from sources like Wikipedia, where people can input their own data. Um, so I think it's useful for that, and it's also taught me a lot more about how the tool actually works because, you just put something in and it spits it out, but you don't necessarily think about the steps it takes to give you those answers. So I think it's been interesting to learn about how the tool actually works so we know when to use it and when you should probably be careful when using it.
Okay, that makes more sense. I like that. But so give me an example. So, what was the last thing you did in school that you used it for, and how did you use it?
Yeah, so today, in my social psych class, one of the activities was everyone put in, give me like, what was it? Like a study done about, it was about birth order and how that affects your personality traits.
I love that
So
topic.
yeah, so we all like put that into our chat, and then everyone or most people got similar answers, but other people got different ones. So we kind of just like talked about it and saw um what everyone's results were. And then our professor was telling us like what's true and what's not kind of thing. So in my social psych class, that's how we always use it. And then in my principles of psych research class, it's a PhD student, and he actually showed us that in one of his dissertations, how he cited ChatGPT as a source he used. And he was like, "Oh, I was so scared that I was gonna automatically get, like, disqualified from whatever," but, that he, like, passed and it was fine, and as long as you, cite it and, like, give a description of what you asked it and what the response was, that's an okay way to use it because you're telling people
Mhm.
that you used it.
So, how would you cite that though? Like,
Like,
it's so different.
you would say that you use chat, and then you would say your prompt, and then you would quote what it gave you, the response, and then you could explain how that helped you get to your whatever findings.
Whatever you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that this is becoming more of an integrated part of your day-to-day learning, which don't we'll talk about that idea in a minute, but now that it's becoming a part of your day-to-day learning, are you finding that you are using it all the time, like even outside of school for things? Like, is
Yeah,
it going to
like
become so much part of you that you're going to expect that into a work environment? You're going to expect that always on your home computer. It's kind of just who you are now. Are you noticing
yeah,
that?
well, I think, like, last year, for example, I was trying not to use it in everyday life so that I wouldn't get used to it and wouldn't want to feel like I should be using it in
Like
school.
a handicap or
So
a crutch,
but
yeah.
now that it's in my
Now that
everyday
they're
school.
begging you to do it, yeah.
Yeah, so now I'm, like, asking it for recipes, I'm, like, asking it
Shut up.
questions I would ask
Recipes?
Google. Yes,
Really?
it's very good, like, if you say, "Oh, these are the ingredients I have, make me a simple dinner recipe," or whatever.
No
It's very good
way.
for things like that.
Oh my gosh, I so have to try that. I've never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, but that I think is going to be one of the biggest challenges for you guys in a work environment. If businesses are not making that a usable resource,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Because up to date, that's not been how they want it done, right? It's not go out to the internet. It's like go and talk to the rest of your team, collaborate together, come up with solutions together, use the skills you have and the knowledge from all of your collective history. And now that's not what you're learning. You're learning, hey, I can go out and find the information I need without having to involve anyone else in that process. Do you think that that's going to polarize individuals in a work environment to no longer want to work as a team, but more because they can find solutions quicker, faster, and probably more accurate by just going out and doing that?
Well, I think that's kind of where it gets tough because I think especially Gen Z like really values connection and collaboration.
Okay.
So I think what they're also trying to teach us is that you should use it as a tool, but it doesn't replace working together on a project together or asking professors or asking people who know a lot about the subject that you're learning about. So I think it's more being emphasized that it's going to be a tool and you need to know how to use it, but don't expect that to replace like human connection and needing to
Okay.
learn from people in the field.
Okay. So that makes me very happy to hear because that's a big concern I would have as a business owner. Like, is Beth going to want to work with other people, or is Beth going to be one
Right.
of those people who just wants to sit at her computer and solve all the world's problems that way, right? I mean, that
And
would
I'm
be
sure
something that
there
tears.
definitely will be people like that,
Oh
but
yeah. There aren't any generation though. I mean,
right.
you've got your individuals. They're usually in IT,
Mhm.
but you've got your individuals who don't want to communicate or work as partners or teams. But I was more concerned because it's something you're being taught to do. So, but I have a question. Do you think the next generation, the Gen Alpha, do you think by the time they come around, it may have morphed into more solo oriented work and less team oriented, or
I don't know, that's a good question. Well, also, like, when I see what we're doing in school now, I'm like, is there gonna be a need for this? Like, are they gonna start teaching this in high school now? Or are they gonna start teaching it in middle school? And, like, I just
yeah,
don't know.
when is it gonna, yeah, are
Right.
you gonna have kindergartners who are out there,
Yeah,
doing, figure out what this color means, right? I mean,
yeah. I just
so
don't know
scary.
what college is gonna be like for them,
Yeah,
especially in careers that are, like, business and, like,
it'll be interesting
things you should get a degree for, but you can also kind of navigate the field if you know,
without a
like, a little
degree.
bit about it.
I know, tell me that sounds scary in a way. But so then I guess that question is, how does that impact your ability to have critical thinking, to be able to solve problems without, right? So they're teaching you how to use this tool to solve problems, to come up with ideas, to think through processes. But are you going to be so self-reliant on that tool that when the tool's not there anymore, you guys are going to be like, I don't know how to solve this problem. Like, are you
Right.
worried about that? Not you personally, but I know you're brilliant and you think outside the box. But I'm just saying, do you think that that's going to inhibit people's ability to problem solve without the tool?
I hope not, and the reason I say that is because I haven't seen a test that we've used it on yet, but I'm very interested to see for the tests we are allowed to use it on, how, like, difficult the questions are and how much you have to think about them. So I think they're trying to also get us to think, like you're saying, like, outside the box and do things that chat or an AI tool can't necessarily do. Um, but I don't know because I haven't seen those questions yet.
Yeah. Do you find yourself that when you need to find a solution or problem solve, is it an immediate for you to go to the tool, or do you try and find other ways to get information first?
Honestly, like, it has become like, I'm just going straight to chat because it's so quick and easy,
Partnering, yeah.
but I also like to think about things, so I
Well,
feel
that's
like
because
it's
you're
gonna go.
smart. You're a smart woman, so I know you do. But I was just curious for your generation if that's something that's innately being taught to them without realizing that, because that's not what they're trying to teach you, but without realizing that they're doing it. I'm wondering if it will be an automatic, no different than grabbing a calculator off your phone,
Right.
right? Instead of, I took the other day, I took a piece of paper and I actually did multiplication all by myself. I was so proud.
Oh,
Um, but it took me a minute to go and go, okay, no, I really do know how to actually do math. So I sat down and wrote it out because I'm like, one of these days I won't know how to anymore. But it's those things where I'm concerned, like for your generation, especially getting into a work environment, are you guys going to want that as your number one tool? Like, is that what you're going to be looking for? And if businesses choose not to have that tool as something they're using, is that going to deteriorate your idea of wanting to work there?
honestly, I think so. I was just one of my clubs is like it's called Finance for Females and Friends. And it's
Ew, what,
it's
what?
basically just like they bring in guest speakers, like they have one from EY, and
Oh,
she was
wow.
saying that one of the things that really drew her to the company was the people. And she's like 25, so she's in my generation.
Cool.
And when that was the first, like when someone asked her, why did you pick that company? And that was the first thing she said. I was like, okay, that makes sense because how like we've been talking about human connections very important. Like
Yeah.
people really do matter. And I think we still very much value that.
So I will say that's the best thing have heard about your
Yeah.
generation overall, because you know that fear of snowflakes is real. Like people are concerned about working with the younger generations, but what you just said is your generation's not going to be the generation that flips and no longer needs people interaction to just be computerized. Thank goodness. Because you're coming into an environment that's still, like we've talked about before, that still even has baby boomers in it, right? So the human connection component is so critical when you're working with so many different age groups in the business environment nowadays. Excuse me, nowadays that's going to be important.
Right.
I'm concerned that the next generation is not going to have the same desire for human contact just because it's starting earlier for them.
Yeah, I also think, like, since we went through COVID and missed that piece, but they're, like, Gen Alpha, is that the next one?
Gen
Yeah,
Alpha, yeah.
they were very, very young, so they didn't have that same, like, missing piece in their life at that point, so it's gonna be very interesting to see how they view it as well.
Yeah, it'll be challenging. But at that point, you and I will be running the world and,
Yeah.
we'll just choose who's going to work for us or not. What do you think the hardest thing about learning how to use the tool is?
I think it's very hard because, some assignments, obviously, you can't use it, so it's been hard to remember, like, "Oh, what classes can you use it in? What classes can't you?" And
Okay.
really, like, having to think, "Oh, is it okay if I'm using it for this?" It's a very fine line, but also gray at some points, so
Yeah, it's
it's
got
been
to
hard to,
be.
like, differentiate that.
And so do you think that your critical thinking is going to improve because you know how to program a computer, for lack of a better term, right? No different than what you just talked about with the whole recipe thing, which I'm so later on today going to try that. I'm just going to open the fridge and randomly pick a bunch of stuff and see what it tells me to make. But you're having to critically think, right? What do I ask the machine to do to get me the results I want, right? So
Right.
there's a lot of that going on in there. Do you think that as AI grows, regenerates, becomes smarter, there'll be less and less use of your own critical thinking to get the machine to do what you want? And are
Yeah,
you concerned about that as someone of that generation?
definitely, because, I mean, it's very scary, like, if you don't use your brain enough, what can happen to you.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that's in the back of my head because that's not fun.
Yeah,
Um,
no, that's a big fear, I
yeah,
think, especially you've chosen a really cool field to be in. I love sociology, psychology. It's so interesting, but it will change rapidly if computers are making our critical thinking decisions, right?
right.
And so will your career path still have a career? Like, is that something people will still be looking for? Like, who knows what that looks like? I was reading an article, I don't know, a week or so ago, and it was talking about the majority of people of your generation, when they get into the work environment, will have jobs that do not exist today. And it blew my mind to think that we're rapidly changing so much that the jobs that you're being trained for, the jobs that you will be able to come into the work environment for, don't even exist. They're not even real yet.
Yeah,
And I'm
it's
like, it's creepy though, because I'm like, what are you going to school for if what you're going to school for isn't going to exist in
isn't
the same
even yeah,
capacity when you graduate?
I know.
Those are ones I'm like, uh-oh. I mean, there'll
Yeah,
always be doctors and there'll always be, well, hopefully there'll always be doctors. One day, maybe computers do all of that too. Um, but I mean, there are careers that are never going to go away. They may change. Like you said, even doctors probably use it as a resource or a tool. What do you think is the difference between using ChatGPT and just Googling it? Like, honestly.
I think just the speed and how it gives you like, chat gives you more information at once, like, Google, you might have to click on an article and read it, whereas chat can, like, summarize it and give it to you, like, just whatever the most important pieces are almost.
That right there is the scariest thing you've ever said, because that is the critical thinking going out the window.
Yeah, I
Right.
know.
Because if you have to Google it, you have to go out and you read the articles and you search and you have to really think it through to find the answers, as opposed to a machine synopsing it all for you and telling you what you need to know. Like, that's frightening.
I know.
Okay, business owners, you need to be prepared um, in multiple ways, right? So, correct me if I'm wrong, Beth, but really, business owners should start thinking about right now, as you guys are still in school, but right now should start thinking about what kind of tools and resources that they're going to be able to provide, and then outlining some really good processes and policies around how to use those tools. No different than school, I think. Businesses need to, if they're going to be comfortable with it, they need to know what that means. So you can use it for this, but not for this, or you can use it, but only in team environments, or whatever it is. But businesses need to start thinking that one through and become very comfortable with the idea that that tool is going to be used quite regularly. They also need to be humble enough to know, because most of them don't, humble enough to know that you guys are going to be so brilliant and smart using that tool that we're going to be able to learn so much from you, kind of like how to make a recipe out of nothing. Um, but I joke with that, but seriously, I mean, you're going to be the one who we are going to go to and say, hey, Beth, this is the challenge we're facing in the business environment. How do you recommend we, come up with some solutions for it? And you're going to be the one who's going to say, here's how we can prompt, here's how we can use this to come up with those answers or solutions.
Yeah,
So
for
as long as you guys keep the critical thinking, I think we'll be good.
Yeah, and another thing I'd add to that is, like, how I was talking about human connections and people really value the people they're working with too, like, keep that intact, and that's how you will attract people and get people to stay also. Because AI is gonna be such a big part of our lives, all of our lives by then, people are gonna want that piece of it. People want the human connection part of it at work because they're going to be so surrounded by technology all the time. So I think that's also something that can set businesses aside from others.
I love that. And thank you for that. That's a really good insight for businesses, is that the people part is still so important and valuable to Gen Z. So don't lose that. Make sure that that's critically part of what you explain in the job. I'm finding that, and we can talk about it in another episode, but I'm finding that one of the things when I'm recruiting is for your generation. Physically having them see the environment and walk and talk with people in the environment makes all the difference in the world, more so than any other. I can't promote a business as much as getting you to see and talk to and deal with and interact with other human beings in that environment. So, and I think that reinforces how important people connection are to your generation, but also that's going to be the one and only saving grace about utilizing AI, is that that's not going to be the end all be all for your generation. Now,
Yeah.
Gen Alpha, well,
Who knows?
we're probably all screwed at that point. I'm just saying. Hopefully things turn a little bit, but we'll see what that looks like. Thank you for the insight, Beth. This was actually super helpful. I really am going to. I'll send you later the recipe that AI gives me off of whatever I've got in the fridge. I'll never have to think again. Do you do all the time? Like, do you just like randomly open the fridge and type in a bunch of stuff?
Well, especially since coming to college, like I don't have my mom to tell me, like, how to make stuff, so
That's
I
true,
just
yeah.
cook it that way. And it tells you, like, the temperature, how long to cook it, it's great.
Okay, what was the best thing you made so far doing that?
Okay, well, I've only only really cooked, like, once, but I made burgers and they were very good, so I was proud of that.
I love it. Okay, well, once is good. I mean, you're getting there.
I'm getting there. This week, my goal is to do some cooking.
Okay, next podcast, I wanna know what you made.
Okay, we'll see.
That's awesome.
Okay,
Okay, so
well oh, what were you gonna say?
no, you, go for it.
Okay.
I didn't mean to
Well,
interrupt you.
no, you're good. Well, thank you everyone for tuning into the Fear of Snowflakes podcast, where every generation brings something worth listening to. We'll see you on the next one.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.